Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody in Cyberland. It's your favorite Babalao, Omo Odun, Owoni Orumila. So, today, I want to bring you something that somebody made a comment. They shot me an email. They said, hey, I would really like to hear a Pataki on Ogbe. I said, Ogbe, okay. I have a great Pataki because there's a taboo that talks about Ogbe not being able to drink coffee. And I want to make sure that we kind of understand what the message is in the Pataki and why we do things. A lot of people forget that Patakis give us information. Patakis give us the Iwos for signs. They tell us what we can and cannot do. What are we prohibited from doing in order for us to stay spiritually enlightened, in order for us to save ourselves one day. So when we talk about Ogbe, let's talk about the story of the two Babalaos and the sign. So in this story, I'm going to modify it just slightly because I want to get to the point, but I also want to make sure that I don't lose focus on what we're trying to say here. In this story, we have two Babalaos. We'll say Babalao that lives in the east and the Babalao that lives in the west. They live so far apart that it's two different kingdoms, two different regions, right? And in the center, okay, so you have one that's all the way on this end, another one on the other end of the spectrum. In the center is the jungle, okay? A jungle that's ruled by Osine. All his herbs, all his secrets, that is where Osine is. Okay, both Babalaos one day decide to consult with Ifa. And when they consult with Ifa, they do what's called an Osode. It's a consultation. And they come out with the sign Ogbe. And Ifa tells them that you need to go do Ebo. And with this Ebo specifically, it's going to take a lot of herbs and so forth. So what happens next is they both need to get back to the center of the region, right? They have to get to this midway point where Osine is located in order to get all the herbs. The Babalao in the west lived by himself, lived alone. The Babalao in the east was married to Ochun. The Babalao in the east sends Ochun because Ochun was the one who was always going out to fetch all the yerbas and the stuff for his ebo, a very beautiful, dedicated wife. So she's off. The Babalao in the west, he's off. Because remember, they both, okay, by the powers that it is to be, both didn't also there. They both came out with Ogbe. They both came out Ire Ariku, Lese Orumila, okay? Ariku, long life, long health, okay? So now they have to go do the Ebo so that they can maintain their health and their long life. They're going. However, over here is Ochun, who's going for her Babalao, and here's the actual Babalao in the west that are trying to get to Osine, and they go into the jungle. Well, Ochun gets there first, and what happens with Ochun is she sees Osine underneath a tree. Okay, underneath this tree, he's sitting there. So she asks him, Osine, I love. At this point, she's looking at the cocoa nuts that make coffee, right? So you got chocolate, coffee beans, right? And she looks at it. She says, hey, I would love to grab a few of these and take it with me, okay? To include the herbs that I need in order for me to, once they get ripe, I can eat them. And my husband can eat them. And Osine stops her and tells her the secret of that particular plant and says, no, that is a coffee plant. The coffee plant, even if it changes color, you don't eat it. You have to roast it, ground it, and then you boil it, and then you drink it. But you got to be careful because it could be toxic. So you got to just drink a little bit. What I didn't tell you is the other Babalao was getting there exactly when Osine was starting to tell her the secrets of that plant. So he was hiding and he was eavesdropping. So he tells Ochun, grab the herbs that you need. You can definitely, take that coffee bean plant and you can go ahead and use it the way I tell you to use it. Use it sparingly and move on your way. So she does that. She leaves a derecho for a sign because she always does that. And at that point in time, the babalao comes out from behind the tree, and he talks to Osain. Osain, how are you? You know, I came to get some yelbas or whatever else. And Osain immediately caught into what he had done. He said, you were eavesdropping. And because you were eavesdropping, and now you want some of these coffee bean trees, because now you learned the secret to that coffee bean, okay, you will never be allowed to drink the coffee bean again, because I will kill you myself. And Osain said that with such a face and an attitude that the Babalao himself, the Awo, was like, oh crap. But the Awo himself still kind of hesitated and was like, I know the secret. It doesn't matter. As long as I drink a little bit, like Osain told Ochung, you know, I'll be okay. It won't be toxic for me. There was a cat that came out of nowhere, out of the shadows. And it was a cat that was the essence of one of his eguns, which some people in this Pataki may even argue it was an essence of his mother, okay? That told him, listen, this is not the consejo, this is not the consult that you want to ignore. You listen to Osain. The coffee will kill you if you even drink a little bit. So, what's the I guess the perspective here? What is the rule of thumb? What is the lesson that needs to be listened to here? Well, coffee. Ogbe. You can't drink coffee. Coffee can be toxic to you. Alright? Now, patakis are not very literal, and you got to be careful on how you take it. The coffee may not kill you itself. You might not drink it until, but you may suffer from acid reflux, ulcers. You may suffer from intestinal issues, digestive system issues, things that coffee might be the trigger to something worse. The children of Ogbe, right? In Awofa, Kaikofa, in Ifa, you can't drink coffee. All right? Every time that you remove yourself or you decide to take and not listen to some of these consults, some of these iwos, some of these taboos, all right, you take yourself away from some of that spiritual grace. And it's important for you to remember that. So, Olbedis, stay away from the coffee, all right? But now remember, the cat that transformed to an essence, which some say it was an essence of his mother, Olbedis, you gotta respect your mother. You gotta listen to the counsel of your mother, all right? Obedis, when you go to do yelbas, if you're a santero, santera, all right, for my brothers, my babalaos, all right, if you're Olbedi, you have to be very considerate to Osain. Cuando estás sacando la lágrima de los hierbas, when you're doing a lot of different things, you got to take real consideration, because you have to have a very good pack with Osain when you're doing things. Okay? So with that said, what are some of our lessons learned? Stay away from the coffee or bedi. Respect your mother. Show her love. Caress her. Hey mom, I love you. Okay? And remember carefully that you have a pack with Osain that you have to respect always. Alright. So that's Olbedi. That's a Pataki I wanted to share with you guys. With that said, Iburu, Iboy Abu Cheche, give me a like, give me a share, shoot me an email, la regla de Ifa at Gmail. That's la.regla.de.ifa@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. Iburu, Iboy Abu Cheche.